good morning. We will first do revision on authorised share capital and issued share capital, and then we will show how this is done in the note that will accompany the balance sheet. Now remember that the issued share capital is the capital that was already issued by the company, and it was multiplied with the price per share that was issued. So the issued share capital is the portion of the shares that was already issued. The issued share capital is used to do calculations to determine what is your ordinary share capital, how to calculate dividends, if you have to repurchase shares, how you will calculate the amount there. The authorized share capital consists of 1 million shares. That means if we take this blue ball, it's like a cake, the company can issue this whole cake that consists of 1 million ordinary shares. That is the maximum number. If this million is finished, they can't sell any more shares. You don't use the authorized share capital in any calculations. You only use it in the note. Now, in this blue ball, we've got the 1 million shares. If we want to issue 100,000, it means that we cut out a slice of cake for the 100,000 shares that we want to sell. So that means that this part of this million is now sold and we can't sell it again. If we decide to sell another 400,000 shares because we want to expand the business and we need more capital, then we will cut out another piece of the cake and we will issue that 400,000 shares. That means that the issued share capital at this stage is 500,000 shares. The authorized share capital remains at 1,000,000 shares, but how much can they still sell in the future? 1 million minus the 500,000 that they've already sold. So if they need more capital in the future, they can sell another 500,000 shares. If we look at the ledger account, when we sell these shares, we will credit the ordinary share capital account with the 200,000 and with the 1.2 million to indicate that the total share capital at this stage is 1.4 million. In sole traders and partnerships, we also used a capital account. In a company, this capital account is exactly the same, except that a company can sell different types of shares. Ordinary shares, preference shares, redeemable preference shares, cumulative preference shares, etc. So to determine where did the company get the capital, they will say which type of shares were sold to obtain this 1.4 million. So they will have a ordinary share capital account, a preference share capital account, a cumulative preference share capital account. In the school, you only have to do ordinary share capital. Now, if we look at the note, we will look at the note for ordinary share capital and we will say, ordinary share capital, how much is authorized? The maximum number that we can sell is 1 million ordinary shares. We can never sell more than that million. Now, this is the only place where you ever use the authorized share capital. Otherwise, you will never use it for any calculations. Issued share capital is you indicate how many shares that you have in issue at the beginning of the year. So shares that were already sold in previous years was 100,000 ordinary shares. They were issued at 2 Rand each. So at the beginning of the year, you already had capital worth 200,000 Rand. During the current year, you issued an additional 400,000 shares at 3 Rand each. So it means that the movement during the year for shares that were sold was 1.2 million. Now, how many shares do you have at the end of the year? the 100,000 plus the 400,000. So we have 500,000 ordinary shares at the end of the year, and the money that was obtained for that 500,000 shares was 1.4 million. You will see that the issue price was not the same. The first shares were sold at 2 rand each. When they obtained more capital, they issued the shares at 3 rand each. So there's not a par value or a minimum value or maximum value at which they can sell the shares. The company will normally, in the beginning, when they start the business, sell the shares at a cheaper price, and as they make name for themselves and people get confidence in them, the price of the shares will increase. So what did we learn today? The authorized share capital is only used in this note, and the total number of shares already issued is recorded as the issued ordinary share capital.